Hi, everybody. I'm Dave McCann with BYUtv football analyst Blaine Fowler. This is a True Blue Extra. It's a phenomenon on the internet.
A phenomenon.
And, something like that, we'll call. As we get ready for week 2 with Weber State. Does BYU spend most of the week preparing for Weber State, or do they spend most of the week preparing for what's after Weber State?
BYU's notorious anyhow for just looking at themselves and what they need to improve. They won't talk about Utah at all. That's the way Bronco likes to do things. They will not look forward. But in focusing on themselves and working on that run game a little bit more and making sure they have the blocking assignments down and that they get more production out of the run game, in essence, they're preparing for Utah. And I think we'll see, if BYU plays the way they should, we'll get a chance to see more depth out of BYU. More guys will get an opportunity to play in this ballgame.
Well, what's it like for a player to prepare for a game where there's such a mismatch on paper? Now, granted, anything can happen, as we've seen Appalachian State going to Michigan to beat Michigan and all that kind of stuff. But on paper, there's such a significant difference for a player, and think back to your playing days. What's it like getting ready for a game like that?
There's a big risk. There really is, that you overlook a team because you watch them on film, and the coaches are telling you, hey, these guys can beat you, and you're watching on film going, no, there's no way these guys can beat us. We're bigger, we're faster, we're stronger. And so sometimes teams will come out and they'll start slow in a ball game. I'm thinking Utah against Northern Colorado last week. They started really, really slow, and Northern Colorado shouldn't have been close. Northern Colorado's a bad, football team in that division. Weber State has been a solid football team in that division, so that's the risk. But your coaches continue to tell you, you've got to focus, you've got to focus, you've got to get better. You hope that there's not a letdown. But in the end, if BYU takes care of the football, their horses should just be too much, especially up front, for Weber State to be able to stop.
It's kind of like what we saw with Idaho State last year. It's a great opportunity for Weber State to come in. They get a big paycheck. They get to be on worldwide television for the first time all season, and they get to kind of come in and experience the atmosphere that will be waiting for them.
Yeah, and this means a lot more to some of these guys at Weber, because there's a number of Utah kids on that roster at Weber State that will come down and have watched BYU, maybe wanted to come to BYU. They have a number of kids. When Ron McBride was the coach up to this last year, they recruited a lot of kids out of Hawaii, a lot of LDS kids that would like to be at BYU. And so there's a little more on the line for the Weber State kids than the Idaho State kids perhaps last year. So they'll play with some fire, but in the end, did they have enough to match up physically with BYU?
We had Kyle Van Noy on this week's show on True Blue, and he is a physical specimen. He looks like he could go out and be an NFL linebacker this Sunday. And the good news is his shoulder was feeling fine after having that off-season surgery.
Yeah, we waited to see because they didn't really let him hit during fall camp, and that was a little bit scary, but he was awesome again in this ball game. His anticipation of where the ball is going is amazing. The most impressive play to me that he had in that ball game was one where he just knocked down a pass, and he was in an outside pass rush. The ball's thrown back inside, and it's like he planted his foot, jumped back, knocked the ball down, and I'm thinking, who knows that the ball's coming out there? He just has this knack of really understanding where the ball's going to be and how to get to the football. And you combine that with the size that he has and the speed that he has, he's a big-time NFL prospect.
I'm looking forward to the Utah game, and we'll have all next week to talk about it. But that defense going up into that setting in Salt Lake City to deal with Utah's run game, and we'll put a lot of pressure on their new offensive coordinator and all that stuff. I just think that's going to be interesting to watch.
Well, in terms of team speed, BYU's defense looked really good last week. I love this matchup against Utah because Utah wants to pound the ball. And I think it's going to be very difficult to run against BYU's defense this season. They've got so much speed and so much closing speed that there's not going to be much space. And so I think Utah's going to have to throw it. And that will be fun. This will be a great matchup. Now, on the other side, Utah's a great defense, one of the best in the Pac-12. BYU's offense, I think, is significantly better. Again, if they can take care of the football, which they have not done in losses to Utah.
No, especially last year.
This will be a great football game against two teams with two great defenses.
For this Saturday with Weber State live on BYUtv, we get to send the Cougars around the world on BYUtv, which is unique because there's no other school in America that has it. So it'll be fun. We'll hear from folks all around the world in our coverage that starts at 2 o'clock Eastern Time. And it is Weber State. It's not Michigan State, but it's early in the season. There's a lot of hype. There's a lot of excitement. This is a great time to have this game.
And it's an in-state game, and we want to see how BYU progresses. Is Skylar Ridley going to play like he did last week all the time?
Yeah.
How nice would that be to have that weapon? Can he be consistent? Kani Akuafrio, who really stepped out and became BYU's tight end last week, does he continue where he left off and get another 6 receptions?
And Jamal Williams, the backup to the backup in the running game, a true freshman with so much promise and speed. Will we be able to see him around the corner on Saturday and see that speed for the first
and
time.
Adam Hine will maybe get a chance to see, which we didn't see in last week's ball game. So I think we'll see more of the running back, stable of running backs that BYU has. It'll be a good opportunity.
All right, this is Blaine Fowler. I'm Dave McCann. This has been a True Blue Extra. We will see you on Saturday live on BYU TV.